Now, I've done some type of research and I've tried to look into it, but I haven't noticed. Is there any type of laws that they're implementing as far as the breeding of wolf dogs? Because I haven't seen much of that.
So, no, unfortunately, there's not any federal laws. So, nothing that goes across the span of the United States. It
Hmm.
is basically left up to the states and, in a lot of cases, the counties. So,
Right.
for example, in the state of Texas, which is one of the biggest states in the entire US, it is county to county based. So, some counties might say you can own a wolf dog, doesn't matter the percentage, doesn't matter. How you own it, whether it's inside, outside, they don't care.
Right.
Others, it's going to be completely illegal, but there's not really a lot of restrictions at this point in time. And I think a big part of the reason for that is that it is very difficult to know for sure if an animal is a wolf dog
Sure.
if you are not an expert in this, and even some DNA tests out there are not really accurate enough to definitively determine that. So there would be a lot of dogs potentially at risk if there were broad legal changes.
Right.
So I think that it's very difficult for governmental officials to even know where to begin.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely not something that's as big right now as like the Big Cat Public Safety Act. That's a little bit easier to
Sure.
um, manage because a tiger is a tiger. There's no
Right.
confusing a tiger with a house cat.
That
But wolves
no.
and dogs, it's a different ballgame.
That's true. That's true. You make a good point there. It's kind of hard to distinguish whether it is a full wolf or not. But when you do see a tiger, it's kind of yeah, that's a tiger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting, and I'm wondering if there's anybody or out there any trying to hold some kind of directory or something about like all the the breeders and stuff that are going on in the U.S. Because I see that they do it for dogs and cats, but I don't see it for them doing it for wolf dogs or for that matter. So I'm wondering if that's something important something that should be brought up or something.
Yeah, I think that there are actually small groups within the, wolf dog
Hmm.
community that are trying to essentially um, get the wolf dog registered as a breed. So, you've got your
Okay.
huskies, your labs, then you would have your wolf dogs. This is something that actually just happened over in the UK, where they were able to actually get sort of a kennel club together to put a specific legal label on what a wolf dog is and what sort of needs to be true for it to be recognized as a breed.
Right.
And of course, their reasonings for doing that were for the legal ownership aspect. But I think that here in the US, people want to do that. It's just where and how do you start? And, how do you kind of create that definitive outline of what makes a wolf dog and what qualifies, and then who oversees that. So
Sure.
I know there's people that have an interest, and I know that it has been done. So that is kind of setting sort of a format for how to do it successfully and what we could maybe use over here. But how that could be implemented as far as laws and stuff goes, I don't know who would spearhead that.
Sure.
But yeah, there's efforts being made. It's just small and slow.
Right, right. No, it's understandable. Yeah. I've noticed since in my research, and I have gone out to Wild Spirit Wolf Sanctuary, and I've noticed that you guys get a lot of calls as far as can you come in and help me with my wolf dog? Can you come and help me with this? So and so. I mean, how many calls do you guys get every day by ballpark?
It's a lot. I mean, it really depends. So, like I said before, we have almost 200 at this point in the year. So we're
Wow.
over halfway through the year. So if you continue with that trend, we would be looking at close to 400 plus at the end of 2021.
Sure.
And sometimes we go days with nothing. Sometimes we
Hmm.
will get 18 in a day,
Wow.
especially when you have sort of hoarding situations or breeders or big time owners that kind of shut down their operations.
Mm.
So last year, we took in a couple of animals from a big time wolf dog breeder who said, I'm done. I'm getting out of the game. I need to rehome all 19 of my animals.
Okay.
We took in two. We offered placement for another two that they didn't end up coming to us. And then we got called later on for an additional two. So, that was a big time person who had a lot of animals kind of floating around, not only at her facility, but through the people she had sold to. And we got contacted for a lot of them, but that was like hardly a dent in her total, population for what she put out alone. So
Wow.
it can be substantial.
Really interesting. And you guys obviously, do you guys coordinate with other wolf sanctuaries to kind of place these animals that have been misplaced?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in cases where we can take animals and we feel like they are well suited to our facility, we will just take them. In other situations, if we maybe don't think one is the right fit for Wild Spirit, we'll network with other facilities that have a better fit for that animal specifically. So, if, for example, we're trying to take in really difficult to work with animals like Mowgli, we want to take in
Hmm.
the ones that are requiring a lot of extra safety precautions and experience and knowledge. But if we have a very social, low content animal that pretty much anyone could work with, that might be better suited for a different facility that has like all volunteer staff. Those people maybe are not going to have the same level of practical knowledge as we do.
Right.
So we will send those animals there to give them something safe to work with that is going to be compatible. Also, if we don't have the space, we obviously want to save as many lives as we can. So we're
Sure.
going to reach out to zoos, sanctuaries, everything that we can think of across the U.S. and try to find placement. So we just had a couple coyotes that we got asked to take in. We don't have any space for coyotes right now, but we were actually able to send them to another sanctuary that has the sibling to our two fox kids. So we
Oh,
do
that's
work
great.
closely with people, and the networking component to what we do is huge. That if we weren't doing that, we would have only saved 7 lives this year instead of 35.
Right.
So it's pretty cool to like see how those numbers add up when you work cooperatively.
That's great.